Early bowl game, Monday Night Football, and a college basketball best bet. That is what is coming up on this fine Monday edition of the Morning Wager. I am joined by what I am being told is the brand new president of the Zach Taylor fan club, the one and only Mark Zinno, who texted me on Saturday. This is unprecedented, folks, even for Zinno. He texted me on Saturday after cashing his bet on the Cincinnati Bengals, a bet that he gave out here for free, by the way, on Friday's edition of the Morning Wager. He said he said he didn't want the money. He actually was upset and was going to tell WagerTalk to grade it as a loss because the Cincinnati Bengals did not deserve to cover the spread in that game, according to one Mark Zinno. Mark, you said you would. I know you're a little tired. You've been traveling this morning, but you promised me many rants over the weekend, and I assume you, as always, have something to say before we get into today's action.
You're lucky I didn't interrupt you in your opening monologue there, which I normally do when I have something on my mind. But I mean, look, I don't know how to say it any more plain about how bad of a coach Zach Taylor is. Honestly, like I'm not a Bengals fan. I could give a rip less about Cincinnati. I don't care about the city. There's nothing against the people. Like I have no care whatsoever. I've never wanted a man fired more than I want Zach Taylor fired. If you offered me $1,000,000 or Zach Taylor fired, I would genuinely pick Zach Taylor fired and leave $1,000,000 because that's how badly I want this man out of football. I cannot stand to watch him coach football games. And the reason why, okay, is I am a process over results guy and I can't stand it. It drives me insane when bad processes, thank you very much, when bad processes net good results. That annoys me. It bothers me. And everything Zach Taylor does is a bad process, and yet his quarterback can still net good results. It was a game, anybody who had Cincinnati, whether you had it at -3, -3.5, whatever, you didn't deserve to cover. You didn't deserve to win. Take the money, go put it all on a lotto ticket somewhere because that's all you should do with that. I literally told Bryan Power, I said, I want to petition WagerTalk to give me a loss in that. And everybody else should take a loss with me. It was not fair to grade that as a win. They didn't deserve to win. They shouldn't have won. The guy's an idiot. And watching him coach games is like being there for a public colonoscopy. It's like being the camera for the colonoscopy. Just slide right in and just keep wiggling your way around until you find your way through all this stuff. So anyway, I just whatever. I mean, again, go ahead.
I think they have robots. I think they have robots for that now. I don't think there's an actual cameraman who films the colonoscopy.
I want to go back and reread some of the texts I sent you because this is.
I do want to say this. Was anything more indicative of this week in the NFL and really the last 2 months of the NFL than you had two favorites cover in overtime that were laying more than a field goal? Like that's the way you had Cincinnati and you had I know, and look, you had Washington. I know.
I did.
Another kudos to you. But they deserve the cover more than Cincinnati, no doubt about it. But still, that's just the way things are going in the NFL. We have a very public favorite tonight we're going to be getting to with Detroit. Okay, everybody and their mother is on Detroit. I'm sure some people in our space will convince themselves San Francisco is the right side.
Favorites went 8-1 so far this week, or 9-1, whatever it was, like just between Saturday and Sunday. I mean, favorites in December are covering at a rate that we haven't seen. If you saw my Twitter account at Mark Zinno, I tweeted it out yesterday. I saw the article from ESPN.com about it's for the first time since like 1985. Favorites are covering at 57% in the month of December because this is usually where dogs come out to bark, right? And it's hard for favorites to cover. And, you know, you and I talk about all the time, everything that we've kind of known about football this year in the NFL has sort of been thrown back in our face. I mean, it has been a very public NFL season.
I will say this, and then we're going to get to your play on the Music City Bowl, which kicks off 2:30 Eastern. I did have both underdogs that covered across Saturday and Sunday. The Cardinals, plus the points. And then the New York Giants, G-Man.
How can you suck so bad at tanking? Like, I mean, I'm not mad at you for betting them. I wouldn't have tried to talk you off of it, right? And yes, I had the Colts as part of the tease, so my clients got screwed. Thank you very much, Indianapolis, and I apologize, guys. It should have had a better result. But, like, You went from the number one overall draft pick to fourth now. My God. I mean, like, just I can't say what I want to say about that. It's just so
Yeah.
frustrating to be a Giants fan right now. It's really bad. It's
Well,
really
you
bad.
know what you know what you could say instead? You could
What's
say
that?
things about the Music City Bowl between Iowa and Missouri. We need to get to today's selections. That is what people have
Okay.
tuned in for. And you, sir, are looking at the total. There are some key opt-outs in this game. Johnson's out for Iowa, Luther Burden's out for Missouri. But you
Yep.
say, hey, this total is low. It's a bowl game. We still think there could be enough offense to get this one over the total.
Yeah. And there's a couple of reasons why here. One, Missouri's defense isn't very good. That's just the bottom line. Two, I like their quarterback, Brady Cook. He's starting in his fourth bowl game for Missouri. And this is a guy who's had a very good record his entire tenure there. And you don't get to 26-13 as a starter because you aren't good. He is good. And they can put up points here against an Iowa defense that, again, you mentioned some of the opt outs there. Their starting cornerback is out. One of their defensive backs, Sebastian Castro, is an opt out. And so they're not using Cade McNamara, which, again, would elude people to think about the under. But again, this is a bad Missouri defense that I don't think really is going to stop anybody at this point in time. You know what happens too in these bowl games, and we've seen this a lot. Every coach tries every trick play in the book to get something done, and if they work, they usually end up netting points. And if this was a lesser conference, I would be a lot more skeptical about the over coming in. But I have an SEC school, I have a Big Ten school, and they have competent athletes across the board at second and third string. Not great ones, but competent ones enough that they can do some damage. And some of these guys who don't get regular shots to play in a bowl game will want to show out. So total low enough here, below a key number of 41. Um, you know, 21-17 gets us home, guys. It doesn't have to be incredibly high scoring. As long as one of these teams gets to
Well,
20, I feel pretty good about where this thing is, right? So
well,
I feel like we're too low on this number, and we're going to play the over here.
I will, I hesitate to correct you. I know you're working on
What?
very little sleep. 21-17 would not send this game over. 21 plus 17 is 38 last time I checked. So
What did
you
I
don't
say?
want
What did I
20.
mean? 24-17. Sorry.
Yes,
Thank you
there you
very
go.
much. It's under the key
All right.
total of 41. It's at 40. Shut up, Brian.
I'm always here for you. And by the way, another thing too that could help you with the over. How about these coaches playing for overtime and not going for the win in these bowl games? We've seen it multiple.
That
That
really happened.
Pitt
Oh, yeah.
Toledo was one of the most shameful coaching displays I've ever seen, topping the Hawaii Bowl 2 nights previous. I know anyone who bet Oklahoma money line does not want to hear this. Brent Venables made the right decision to go for the win. Don't play for
Brett
your
Reynolds
Oklahoma.
is a bad coach, man.
Will be
I
honest.
can't
Can I say
I
something?
can't
Can
believe
I say,
John Mateer is going there.
can I
I
say
feel like
something
they're
personal
sleeping
about the
around.
man?
Go ahead.
I thought he made the right coaching decision to go for 2 in the win. He has a bad voice, though. I don't like his voice.
You
Just
are very much
a
into
little-
coach face, coach voice, and coach
it
presentation.
matters. Yes,
You are very much into that. Like like Brian Power grades coaches like he grades women. Like, I don't really like her face, It's like a,
Yeah.
8 body, but a butter face. She's a 4 face. I'm not down to it. That's what you do with coaches.
You know what I said
Great team.
yesterday? My buddy was
Yeah.
over. I said Shane Steichen. He looks confused. Bad face.
Bad face.
G-Man. All right, let's go to the NFL. Speaking of that, are the Detroit Lions the right side tonight? I don't know. It's a short number. The way the NFL's been going this year, the Detroit Lions are probably going to cover no matter what this number closes at. But I have a player prop for you, and it's Ricky Pearsall. Let's dig deep. Let's do a deep cut here, Zinno. Pearsall over 19 and a half yards receiving. What do we know about the Detroit Lions? Why might people talk themselves into taking the points with the 49ers tonight? Well, Detroit is very banged up on the defensive side of the ball. There's also a world where San Francisco, maybe they still fall behind and the game script calls for passing. All right, so let's look at the 49ers receiving. George Kittle, everyone's going to be looking at him. I don't love the number. He's at, I think, 66 and a half, I think is his number. Samuels had a down year. Jawan Jennings, his number's high too. Ricky, over 19 and a half yards. This is a number you can get over with just one big play. And it's been all or nothing for Pearsall this year. Admittedly, he's had 4 games where he has done literally next to nothing. 3 games, he didn't even register a yard. But last week, back on track, 4 targets, 37 yards. He had one 21-yard catch. The week before that, he had a 16-yard catch against the Rams. Earlier in the year, he had some big games. I get it's feast or famine with Pearsall, but we're going to be in this the whole way. He just again, 19 and a half yards against a banged-up secondary. I don't think that's very difficult, Mark Zinno. So I am going to take Ricky Pearsall to go over this total. Do you have any thoughts on the Monday Night Football game tonight where, yes, the Lions are a short road favorite?
It's a stinky line. I thought so all week long. I just, off the top of your head, you should have made that number 5.5, 6, right?
Mm-hmm.
Somewhere in that range. I don't know. I mean, the Lions are banged up. I mean, they obviously they don't need this game, right?
They don't. Let me jump in. Yeah, let me jump in with that. The result of this game does not affect the stakes of next week's game with Minnesota. They could lose this game, Detroit, and next week versus Minnesota is still for home field advantage in the NFC, still for the division.
Yeah, because they sweep them with the tiebreaker. So that's why, that's why this game doesn't matter. So I don't know how much of a full all-out effort you're going to get from Detroit here. If they're not playing with a lead early, I could see them pulling up, right? If they get out to the lead, I'm sure that Dan Campbell will try and continue to coast. But if they get behind early and the defense isn't playing well, like I don't like their catch-up ability here in this game. So it's a little bit of a tough cap there.
Yeah,
I mean, I think here's the thing though. Does Dan Campbell still want to beat this team from last year's NFC Championship game? Like,
very good point. It is an NFC revenge.
He's the kind of guy that doesn't let that go. He wants. It doesn't matter if it's against a depleted Niners team. It doesn't matter that the game doesn't matter. Like Dan Campbell will turn around and make it motivational for his guys. That these guys beat us last year. I don't care what version they are. I want to remind them that we're still better than they are.
Yeah, and this is obviously not the same Niners team as in years past, let alone last year when they go to the Super Bowl. I think people are going to look at this and say, hey, San Francisco is getting more than a field goal at home. I couldn't tell you the last time that happened. It's been quite some time. But Ricky Pearsall is the way to play it. Forget about the spread. Take Ricky Pearsall. Mark Zinno, before we get to college basketball and our best bet, I just wanted to remind everyone, I know this is your favorite portion of the program, college football playoff quarterfinals are coming up. I do have that 5% max bet still available, and you can save 25% off that pick by using coupon code HOLIDAY25, HOLIDAY25. Use that at checkout. You get an instant 25% savings applied to anything in your cart as long as it's not already been discounted. Is there anything that people can get from you at a 25% discount, Mark Zinno?
That's a serious question.
I shudder to think what we can get from you at a 25% discount, quite frankly. A tank, perhaps? Some armor? A machine gun?
You can take it 25% and go stick it where the sun don't shine. How's that sound? No, I'm kidding. Look, I mean, and beyond, I'll get something up for today. I got to get the bowl games up, the college playoff games. So we'll get those up tonight. And that's probably what we're going to run with here until tomorrow. So I will have those up later today at wt.buzz/MZ. If it matters, and it doesn't, but I will say this much. We're on an 8-2 run over our last 10, right? 4-0, 5-0 bowl run as of late. So we got back on track. It was a nice, profitable last 72 hours. Maybe it's because I was not I was in the state of New York and not in Atlanta. I don't know. Maybe that's what it is. It was fun gambling on regular sites though, like not having to go offshore. It was fun, like actually, because you know what happens. I have a FanDuel account, like a DraftKings account, and I have money in them, and I forget that I have money in them. And every time I go to a state where I can legally use those apps, after I open it up, I'm like, oh damn, I got money in this account to play with. Let's start peppering the board.
Mark Zinno, the man has money that he doesn't even know about anymore. What a wonderful life it is for you, Zinno. I went 5-1. Hey, and you do a show with me every day. What could be better than that? 5-1 the last 3 days for yours truly. I do want to address something. So if you heard the show on Friday, you know I said to tease the Colts down along with the Dolphins. Well, after that, and you always jump on me about talking when the show has been recorded. Well, I do it for a reason, okay? That show was recorded on Friday, and guess what happened on Saturday? The Colts sat Anthony Richardson, The Dolphins sat Tua. So I went in the comments section of that
Very
video
good.
and I told all of our fine viewers, do not bet
Very
this
good.
teaser anymore. And then I wrote in my analysis when I took the New York Giants, Joe Flacco should not be a 7.5-point favorite on the road against Mark Zinno, me, and 20 old men. Okay? Zinno would be the best player on that team for sure. I would be the worst.
By the way, I'm going to ask you a very
G-Man!
unmanly question. Grade the beard. How you feel about the beard? Do we like the winter beard?
It's all right.
It's all right.
I'm impressed that I'm impressed you can grow it that quickly. I haven't shaved in 20 years. This is all I got. All right. College best bet. Let's get to the people. Cincinnati at Kansas State. Do
All
we,
right.
Mark Zinno, draw a line in the sand here with the Kansas State Wildcat? This team has been disappointing with a capital D. They paid a lot of money for this roster in NIL, and they got 5 losses. Only one of those losses, though, have been at home. That was at LSU. They had some close games. Yes, there's been some disappointing results. Certainly the game against Wichita State. Woo! Yeah, if that's not going to get you motivated, what will? Cincinnati's been good, but they've had a couple big wins recently. Dayton and Xavier, those are in-state rivals. Those games matter a lot to the Bearcats. And they've got some big games upcoming. Arizona, Baylor, and Kansas here in Big 12 play. Do we take the home dog in this spot, Mark Zinno?
Anytime that I bring up the words Kansas State, I immediately have to text my good friend Kelly in Vegas, aka Kelly Stewart, and because she's an alum and she knows the program better than everybody else. And I asked her about this game, Kansas State plus 3.5 tonight, and she said, "Damn, I thought it was a buy low spot on Wichita, and that's not really the case." And they got smoked by Wichita by 19 last time out. Granted, they were on the road, and their last home game they lost to Drake in overtime by 3. You mentioned what Cincinnati is on. Look, Cincinnati is a really good team, but they are sort of a tough offense to back at times and a little bit infuriating just because their pace is slow and they are terrible from the free throw line. For a team that shoots the ball so well, I don't know how they miss the ones where nobody is guarding them, which is always frustrating.
Yes.
But I would look at this and go, it's a put up or shut up game for K-State. Look, I know there are no students on campus, that the fan base isn't happy right now with the way things are going, and there may be a sparse crowd. But, Jerome Tang and the boys here know they have to show up tonight against this Cincinnati team. And it's one of these games where if you look around, a lot of people would make this number a lot bigger, right? Just based off the metrics of what we're seeing and the teams, like this number feels like it should be Cincinnati around -6, -7. And it's only 3.5, which tells you odds makers respect K-State at home and the fact that they've lost 4 straight. Cincinnati's last road game at Villanova. What happened there, BP? Tell the folks.
Lost.
That was the only loss of the year. So, again, I if you look at them on the road this year, I mean, look, there's a Northern Kentucky team that obviously is a very small school. And Georgia Tech, they haven't really played a tough road opponent. When they played a tough road opponent with a good defense like Villanova, guess what happened? Okay, they struggled. Kansas State defense isn't great, but it's good, good enough here for me to back them. And we hope that the free throws that Cincinnati can't make come back to bite them in the keister here. So we'll take the Wildcats plus a 3.5 here for our show best bet.
Can even get +4 now, I'm seeing. So there you go. What do you say about that? Tough to win at the Octagon of Doom. If you're the visitors, it's even tougher to win by margin. So we like Cincinnati.
Oh, it is -4 now. We officially want -4 then.
Well, we want +4, actually. We're taking the dog.
I mean, +4. Sorry, you're right. I haven't slept.
Thank you.
And the second cup of coffee is not working.
Okay. Well, please comment down below with your thoughts on taking Kansas State as a show best bet. We gave you a bowl game. We gave you Monday Night Football. Smash that like button. Smash that like button. Then don't and then do it again. I don't know. Make sure you subscribe to the WagerTalk YouTube channel. We always appreciate the support, and we will be back on Tuesday. Until then, let's cash the tickets.